gonna swim, bike, and run. In the corner sun, we're gonna swim, bike, and run. In the corner sun, 2021.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome everybody to Breakfast with Bob, not quite Kona edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are brought to you by Challenge North America, Credo Tri, You Can, Hoka One Velo Fix, Normatec, Canyon Bikes, and of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation. In the last couple of weeks, we sent out 3,038 grants totaling $5.1 million. Keep challenged athletes in the game of life through sport. And one of our supporters and 2016 Olympian and a guy who's been on a major role over the last couple of months and is a new daddy, Mr. Ben Kanute joins us. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
I love the shirt. Looking
Thanks,
awesome.
I know, right? It's comfortable and love going to the greatest day in tri.
So Benny, you come off of getting 10th at Nice at the end of 2019, and of course everybody's looking at 2020 is going to be great, and then the whole world shuts down. And your plan was obviously go to the Olympics in both the individual race and in the relay. So how have things changed? What needs to happen in terms of you getting to the Olympics?
Right. So, I mean, that's the big question, I think, for everybody. The Olympic qualification is essentially shut down a little bit in 2020, going into 2021. Officially, they're restarting the points coming up here in May with the most important race kind of kicking it off, I'd say, is Yokohama. And that's the plan for me, is to go there. I was able to get a start, and that's the last auto selection event. So it's always good to be able to throw your name in the hat, put your step into the ring and just see what happens on the day. But for the past few years, I've been selecting races pretty carefully to show my relay prowess. And as far as the USA Triathlon selection for the team goes, that's pretty high up on their order of selecting the team. So I'm hoping that my resume shows that, I'm the relay guy. If you put me on the team, let's go get a medal.
Yeah, because the reality is, what's great about for the sport of triathlon is we've had, since 2000, we've had a men's race and a women's race. And this year with the mixed relay, we're basically going to have another showcase for the sport of triathlon on national television. Talk a little bit about the mixed relay for a lot of folks who don't know much about it, and how this thing, I think, is going to change the world for us because it's so exciting.
I think it's one of the most exciting formats in triathlon. It's swim, bike, run, and it's 2 guys, 2 girls. Starts off with the women, tag off to a man, goes back to the women, then a man. And everybody does a super sprint, and it's just all out racing, can't make mistakes. There's tons of lead changes. Some of the most unpredictable things have happened. We've had sprint finishes. You have people crashing on the bike every so often, which totally messes up everything. You get all sorts of stuff. So I think it's one of the most exciting formats in triathlon. The U.S. has been great at it the past, 5-10 years, however long it's kind of been going on, and we've been getting more serious. We were world champs in 2016. And pretty much every time I've been on the world squad, there's been a medal that we've walked away with, aside from maybe 1 year in that. And I just love it. It's a lot like those fast races that you see from Super League or Island House, where it's short racing, and it's just really unpredictable, because if you're off by even just half a percentage point, it really shows. So anything can happen in those races.
And to be on the relay team, it's not like they're bringing people over just for the relay or just for the individual race, right? It's if you're selected, you're doing both.
Yeah, that's what makes it tricky. What makes selection tricky, because obviously countries want to win a medal in both the individual and the relay. But I think you have to take a step back sometimes and go, some countries are looking at it going, hey, we have to put all of our focus on the relay here, and we're going to bring in a specialist, and we're going to have them focus on that. And they still do the individual, because like you said, you can't have extra people, but their main focus, they might do a lot of their training for that. So it's going to really, it could affect the dynamics of the individual race, while also this relay that's going on, because Like for the US, for example, the women kind of sort themselves out. We have an outstanding team of women who will probably automatically qualify in a lot of ways or have a chance at winning a medal. Whereas on the men's side, we've had a couple performances that could be counted as, medal potential. But overall, I think that the major opportunity for the men comes from racing the relay for the medals.
So you're one of the few guys out there who's balancing. You're talking the relay, mixed relay. You're talking obviously Olympic format, 70.3, and then you also perform really well at Challenge Miami, which is a racetrack format where you were on a road course as well as the racetracks, the regular circuit. Talk a little bit about how you balanced all of that, because what I love is when you mentioned Island House, and I think that was one of the first times I saw the Ben Kanute sprint, and you going by Terenzo to get him right at the last minute. But then your last couple of races, Challenge Miami, I'm watching that going, okay, Ben's passed, Leiferman's in front. Next thing you know, there you are. And same thing in Galveston, right? He had a sprint finish, basically a sprint finish there to take out Sam Long. Talk a little about how you've balanced it all and kept your speed.
Right. Well, I think that all of those distances play off of each other. I think the first thing is I'm a racer and I love to race.
Yeah.
And those short distances, it's pretty much just you're racing. There's not even that much pacing when it comes down to it. There's some nuanced pacing that goes into super sprint, but essentially it's full gas for 20 minutes. And the way that I race it, I feel like I fall back on my strength. So to go for 20 minutes hard, it's not like a 400-meter sprint on the track or 200 or even a 100 where you're a pure sprinter. You need some strength to sustain that threshold or that high-end effort. And then when you take yourself up to the half Ironman or just even some of those funny distances like Alcatraz or like Miami, you need that strength, but then that leg speed helps you. And my run has been a project, pretty much my entire career, but specifically in 2020, we took a step back, realized that by, April, May, there weren't going to be any real races until the fall, and really focused in on just specific run training for myself and let the bike and the swim kind of be set off to the side in maintenance mode, and spent a long time on technique, different turnover, strength running, all like kind of went across the board and focused on what I needed to do, and didn't really get to quite show it off in 2020. But I think the past two runs that I've had in Miami and in Texas have really showcased that I've worked hard on pacing and running smart, and then not really surprising myself because I've always known that I can finish strong, but being able to negative split a run has been a huge confidence boost, going into this year where it looks like we're going to get more consistent racing.
So St. George, in 2017, you were 5th at St. George. So obviously, the course. Does this play to your strengths?
I love this course. This was my second half. This was my second half Ironman ever. And, who was it? It was Alistair Brownlee, Lionel Sanders, Sebastian Kienle, and Tim Don. And I was running with Tim Don going like, hey, I'm actually racing here. Like, this is fun. This is great. So I'm just having fun with it this year. Like, it's been a pretty painful way to decide to end the race in essentially a sprint when it comes down to like the last half mile, but it's been a lot of fun to race. And I've just really been focusing on, what's my maximum potential for the race and what have I been doing in training, and just trying to emulate that and show it off. And the results have kind of followed. So when it comes down to it in the last few miles, like it's just game on, and it's just fun to race people. And everything before that is just making sure that I'm smart, getting the most out of myself throughout the whole race.
What I really enjoy is when you look at the field for St. George. I mean, it looks like 70.3 worlds when you see yourself and Rudy Von Berg and Lionel and Ben Hoffman and Bart Arnotts and Jackson Landry. And it's like a Hall of Fame type of race. I think for Dano and Patrick Langer, and Javier and maybe Alistair. But in terms of a field, are you excited about going head to head with all these guys?
Definitely. We've seen a huge increase in quality of field this year. I think with the limited racing and the fact that people haven't really gotten to race very much. So for me, it's really motivating because when I show up, like it's not as motivating. If a win comes easy, that's great. It's fun to win. But if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I've really enjoyed, like in Miami, racing Jan and Lionel and trying to match up with them, and then going back to work and figuring out, all right, when I'm going to Texas and Lionel's going to show up again, what do I have to do to beat him? Like, what is the formula? And I closed the gap majorly from Miami to Texas. And, I'm still working, and there's a lot of guys out there who are just as hungry and want to race. And I think that makes it really fun. And I think that's why we're seeing such good racing this year. We have all these guys who are talented and hungry and hardworking. And it's just been fun to step on the start line and go back out there and just kind of suffer with everybody.
So being a dad, and that actually happened while you were at the Challenge Daytona, right? And did you find out the night before the race or 2 nights before?
Yeah, I found out early Friday morning. So we thought we were okay. I get on the plane and land, and talking with my mom and Courtney, who are back in Phoenix, and just Courtney was like, yeah, I think I'm going into labor. And the doctors were like, no, it's too early. And yeah, early Friday morning, I get a call saying that they're in the hospital and the baby's coming. Briella's on her way. And I was like, man, I had a pep talk with her too. I'm like, do not come, just wait 3 days and I'll be back. I made the trip as short as possible, but she's showing me who's boss already. And, if you make a plan, get ready for it to all be blown up. So that whole Friday going through was just like trying to check my phone, see how everything was going, and trying to get ready to be on there for a video call, at least to be present. So that was a tough weekend overall, but when I got back, it was just all family time and really, really awesome.
We saw the adrenaline during the bike ride when you went off the front.
Yeah, exactly. Had to try and chuck the legs into something and get a go at it. So a little bit more even pace racing this year for me.
So you have been at our best day and try a number of times. Why is it the best day and try?
Oh, there's just something about it. It's just watching, somebody get a leg for the first time, or being able to walk or run for the first time, and just watching all of these athletes just overcome whatever obstacles they've had in their life. And it goes back to why we love triathlon and why we love sport. It's that sport gives you confidence, and it lets you be able to express yourself and overcome pretty much anything. And everybody bands together, and it's something that I think is really hard to put into words, like to be able to go the night before where you're giving out the awards and doing the presentation, and you get to see people's stories, like the ride across America and all of that. And then you get to actually watch like a lot of people, the swim lessons, the run obstacle courses. It's a vibe there that I think is really hard to put into words until you've been there and you've experienced it. And then it's one of those light bulb moments where it's like, okay, that's where they get the moment, like greatest day and try.
So you've been doing this sport since you were how old?
Oh, I think it's about 8 or 9 years old. More than half my life now.
I was going to say, do you love it just as much now as you did then?
Yeah, definitely.
And the opportunity for another Olympic Games, how special would that be?
Oh, I mean, that would be great. And I always said too, it's like the first time it was soaking up the experience, trying to give it my all. And this time there's a medal opportunity that could be right there. And I've always loved representing the USA, representing my country, especially at the highest level of the sport at the Olympics. So it's always a great opportunity and one that I don't take lightly.
Love it. Hey, Benny, thanks as always for taking time, buddy. Always a pleasure to chat with you. And congrats, most importantly, on being a dad. Actually, and as a dad, it's probably when you come back from workouts in the past where you're like, oh, I had a bad workout. Now, does it even matter when you come home and see your little one?
I mean, not as much. And I think that there's a little bit extra motivation to make the most of whatever workout you're doing, whether good or bad, because that's time away from Briella. So I want to make sure that any time that I'm away, I'm not wasting it.
Love it. Hey, best of luck at St. George. That's going to be a great race.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for having me on again. Always fun.
Ben Kanute, always fun to chat with. Again, this is Breakfast with Bob, Not Quite Kona edition. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.